Are you thinking about possibly becoming a real estate agent in 2025? Probably seen videos online, probably seen it on TV, probably heard your friends and family say, hey, get into real estate. You can make a lot of money and be successful. Well, I'm going to kind of go over that with you right now. Let's get right into it. For me to sum up real estate and becoming a real estate agent, the only word I can think of is it's difficult. Yeah, I would say it's difficult, especially in the beginning. So you probably had a couple jobs in the past. Majority of them are W-2 or hourly, right? So you're kind of used to getting paid every week or every 2 weeks. Well, guess what? In real estate, you don't get paid every 2 weeks, right? It's 1099. You only get paid when a transaction closes. And that's the difficult part. Balancing money, building a book of business, right? Lining up clients, having a consistent lead flow, right? Understanding that whole mindset of being a business owner and acting like a business owner is very important. Like I said, to sum it up, that's the word difficult. Now, I'm going to break it down pretty simple as possible because I'm a simple type of person, but I do apologize if you get a little confused here. But when you first start off in real estate, you go, you take a class, you get your license, right? It's pretty straightforward. You'll pass. You have to find a broker that you want to work for. So whether it's Remax, Caldwell Banker, EXP, whoever it is, right? So you're going to go around and you're going to see who you want to work for. Maybe you're working with someone, one of your friends works at a brokerage you want to work with. You feel comfortable. Okay, great, perfect. What you have to keep in mind is, and this is super important, you have to ask, what are you getting back in return? And what I mean by that is, what kind of support are you getting as a new real estate agent? Remember what I said earlier. This is not a regular job. You don't get paid every week or every 2 weeks. You need support because it's all 1099. We have bills to pay, right? We all do. Those are super, super important stuff to think about before you jump into that field or into that life, because I'm going to tell you again, it's super difficult when you have a couple deals pending for the month that are supposed to close and then you lose half of them. And I'm not going to get to specifics on how that really plays out, but I'll just sum it up easy. When you're in real estate, let's say you had 5 houses that were closing this month, but you have nothing for next month. Deals die. People lose financing, they change their mind, whatever the case may be, right? Mortgage can't get approved. When you're used to getting paid every 2 weeks or every week, it's hard when you lose deals, especially when you don't have a book of business. So my advice is, when you decide to interview other brokerages to join, you got to ask them what kind of support they have to offer. Do they provide you leads, right? That's a good one to ask, right? What's the splits? Splits meaning how much money are you really going to make? What's your commission? Because you got to negotiate, right? In the beginning, it's a little hard depending on the broker you go to, but I would say negotiate. Go for somewhere around 70 to 80%. If you can get more, even better, but the likelihood of you getting 90% and higher is slim to none. You need a book of business to get that typically, on average, I'm saying. So that's another one to keep in mind, is you got to negotiate your commission. And what I mean by that is, you get 80% of the commission. The other 20% goes to the broker. So out of your 80%, you got to take into consideration, you got to pay taxes. Is there marketing involved? Like, do you have to pay for that, or is it being paid, right? You have to pay for the photographer, things like that. Like, all that stuff adds up, right? Then you have to start taking into account, well, you need to buy medical insurance, right? You know, you might have to pay a car payment to get around, right? You have to pay MLS fees, right? There's like so many fees involved. I'll give you an example for mine. My total fees for the year are roughly like $7,000. That covers everything because we have multiple MLSs here in New Jersey, right? My current split, like I said, is 70-30. But for that 30%, what I get, which most people don't have, and I kind of wish it was this way for most brokerages, but it's not, is I get a transaction coordinator and I get a listing coordinator. So these are two individuals that I get that are W-2 employees who take care of all the back-end paperwork for me, which is awesome. Super awesome. So, like I said, when you're going around interviewing, start asking these questions. See what kind of support you can get. Because in the beginning, you're not going to have any deals pending. It's going to take you so much time. And the best way to actually do it is, because you're not going to have most likely a big chunk of money in the beginning to put down and buy leads from Zillow, right, or Realtor, which, by the way, are very expensive. The only way to get free leads, really, is by cold calling expireds and for sale by owners. That's free. That's how I started, right? I started off by cold calling expireds and for sale by owners to generate business. So these are things to take into consideration if you're thinking of, getting into real estate. But I would say is, again, it's very, very difficult in the beginning. And at times it can be difficult because the money's not guaranteed. But if you really, really dedicate yourself to studying, mastering your sales skills, you're going to kill it. You're going to crush it. Like, I don't even know what else to say. You're going to make a fortune if you do it right, And what do I mean by that? Like doing it right. Like I said, be really, really good with people, right? Master objections, right? Learn how to handle people, right? Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's how you're going to win. There's guys and girls that I know that literally make $800,000 a year with no problem. Think about that for a second. This is a career where you can have an opportunity of making more than most doctors do. Think about that. That's what I noticed with real estate. That's the lure that it lures everybody in. Because I see it every day. There's agents that come in and they have this mindset of what they see on TV and on YouTube, and hey, it's going to be easy. I'll make a lot of money in the first year, or maybe even on the second year, right? But a lot of people don't realize is a lot of it comes down to, are you willing to sacrifice and do what it takes to be successful? Are you willing to make those phone calls? Are you willing to negotiate with your broker on commissions, right? Are you willing to understand how the market works, right? Because right now, we're 3 weeks away from an election, and it's slow. It's slowing down. People don't realize this. It's slowing down. But what I mean by slowing down is it's seasonal. Think about it. No one's really moving right before the election and around Thanksgiving and Christmas. They don't. Most people don't, right? So that's when it comes back to is you have to prepare yourself and be very, very good at balancing money, okay? Because in the beginning, you're not going to get a huge check. It's very, very difficult to do that. And if you do get a check, let's say you get a deal in the first 30 days, it's not going to close in the first 30 days because the average closing date is about 45 days, right, with a mortgage. So let's say you got it on the second month. Got yourself a nice check of $10,000, right? Well, you got to spend that $10,000, unfortunately, to build a book of business. And that's okay because you're investing in your future. And that's what I think you should do, right? If you can, get a part-time job in between and do real estate on the weekends. That's typically what I recommend to start off until you feel comfortable and built that book of business, that you're okay with going out on your own. But yeah, it's awesome. It's rewarding. You can make a lot of money, but you have to really, really sit down and think about it. Like, are you okay with not being paid, weekly and bi-weekly, right? There's times where I've gone where it's been 60 days and no pay. Like, imagine that, 60 days with no pay. You have no money coming in for 60 days. Granted, I have deals pending, but you're praying that every deal goes through. And deals die, guys. Deals die all the time. It happens. And it's not your fault, right? It's the mortgage can't get approved. Buyer or seller changes their mind, right? There's issues with inspection. They can't negotiate on the credits. There's a lot of moving pieces there. There's a lot. Like I said, I just want to make sure that people kind of know the truths, because I see some folks come in here and it's sad, they give it all they got and they were just like misled, And it kind of happened to me too, I'm not going to lie. But I was very fortunate enough to have time prior to it that I spent studying, mastering, cold calling, writing out scripts, role playing. Like, it helped me so much. Like, that's the one thing to keep in mind too. If you can write out scripts or download free scripts online, that's what I did, and then started tweaking them, it's going to help you out. Understanding the acronyms, the language, right? It's going to help you a lot. But hey, if you're thinking about doing it, pull the trigger, be smart about it, keep yourself a little part-time job on the side, shadow someone, and go make a lot of money. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until then, I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe, guys.